have a conversation with one Mr. Samuel, and he was able differently before, and he got a miracle, and now he's well. So here is his story, Mr. Samuel.
Jina langu naitwa Samuel Karuri Mwangi, mzaliwa wa Nakuru County. Nilipozaliwa katika wakati mtoto anapokuwa, anafikia mahali anaanza kutambaa, anaanza kutamka maneno. Wazazi wangu wakaona ya kwamba niko na shida ya matamshi ya maneno, na wakafikiria labda ni kile kale kaulimi kanakuwa pale ndani, mimi ndiko kanako nizuia kuweza kutamka maneno kwa njia ambayo inayofaa. So wakanipeleka na nikakatwa, wakifikiria kwamba hiyo shida ya kutamka maneno maybe itaweza kuondoka, lakini haikuweza kuondoka. Ni kwa sababu niliendelea katika hali ya ugugumizi, na finally wakaweza kugundua ni hali yangu ya maisha, nimezaliwa hivyo, na hawakuwa na lolote la kufanya. Hakukuwa na medication yoyote ambayo ingeweza kufanywa ili hilo jambo la kuwa stammerer ama kigugumizi lipate kuondoka. So maisha yangu yakaendelea hivyo, nikaweza kuendelea nikiwa katika hali hiyo ya ugugumizi. Sasa tangia pale katika walipojua kwamba sasa ninaendelea kuwa kigugumizi, niliendelea kwa muda mrefu. Nikiwa na miaka 17 niliweza kutoka shule, nikamaliza shule ya msingi, na nilipomaliza sikuweza kuendelea na masomo kwa sababu ya changamoto za hapa na pale, lakini nikaendelea katika maisha. Nilikuwa mtu ambaye ako devoted katika mambo ya kiungu, ushirika wa kinyumbani, home fellowship, ambazo ndizo tunaziita huku Nairobi, home fellowship. Nilikuwa committed sana katika hizo fellowship. So nikienda, kila wakiniona walikuwa wanaona mhubiri amefika. Lakini kitambo nifike pale nikiwa shule, kuna changamoto ambazo niliweza kupata nyingi, ni kwa sababu watu wengi hawakuwa patient na mimi, na walimu wengine maybe akiuliza swali ninajua jibu, ninainua mkono niweze kujibu, lakini katika hali ile ya kutaka kujibu maneno yanakataa kutoka. Unakuta ya kwamba mwalimu hana subira na mimi, so ananijaja kwamba nilikuwa ninainua mkono na sijui jibu. So unakuta wakati ule ninapata kuadhibiwa. Hata baada ya kutoka shule, kuna watu wengi ambao hawakuweza kunielewa, hawakuwa na patient na mimi. So unakuta kwamba nikiongea napata kejeli. Kuna watu ambao hawagojei nimalize sentence yangu. Unakuta ya kwamba ni changamoto ambao ilikuwa ni ya kushusha mtu mno. Nikisimama kuhubiri ujumbe ambao pengine ningehubiri kwa dakika 10, nilikuwa natumia zaidi ya dakika 30, ni kwa sababu maneno hayatoki. Hata wakati mwingine ilikuwa ni cut short, ni kwa sababu maneno, hata nimechoka mno katika ile kujaribu kutoa maneno. Unakuta ya kwamba mwili umechoka. Na siku moja tukiwa katika ushirika, mama mmoja akasimama ambaye namheshimu, anaitwa Mama Muhoro ama Jacinta Mwebu. Akasimama akasema, huyu mtoto wetu amekuwa kitubariki katika neno. Wakati wote tunapokuja katika ushirika anatunenea na tunabarikiwa. Na kwa hivyo akasema ya kwamba kwa sababu magari inakuwa na spare parts, kwa hivyo hata huu ulimi wake uko na spare part, na Mungu anaweza peana spare part. So akaambia wamama wengine, wacha tuombee huyu mtoto wetu. Na kuna kitu kimoja ambacho aliweka katika maneno yake akiomba kwa sababu yangu. Alisema ya kwamba ili anapohubiri, kwa hivyo uponyaji wangu ama kuongea kwangu kuko covenanted na kuhubiri Injili. Na ningeweza kuchallenge wale watu ambao wamesusia ushirika. Maybe unaona muujiza wako ni kana kwamba uko katika ibada ya Jumapili, ni sawa tu, lakini kama utaukosa, kuna uwezekano kwamba muujiza wako umeweza kuunganishwa na ushirika wa nyumbani, ama kile ambacho unachoona ya kwamba ni kidogo sana, maybe muujiza wako umeunganika huko. Mimi ni kwa sababu ya kujiunga na ushirika wa nyumbani na kuwa committed kutembea kila wakati katika ushirika wakati masaa yenye imepangwa, pale ndipo watu walipata mzigo wa kuniombea na wakaniombea, na sasa ndio mimi hivi ninaongea.
There you have it. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. There you have it. So Samuel was born with this condition that he couldn't speak, and rather he was a stammerer, but he received his miracle. But one thing that stands out even when he speaks is the place of being mocked. I don't know if you guys have experienced that. Maybe for you, Bernard? Have you had people, say stuff about you, say
Yeah.
things to you?
Well, it is true that persons with disability um, experience some sort of social bullying, which you call it mockery, but mostly what I find is that it's ignorance.
Ignorance from the
Because-
people.
From people.
Okay.
Especially when kids are growing up, our society unfortunately has not exposed them to disability. And I meet kids who laugh at me or start pointing, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I just think that the failure is on how we're bringing up our kids at home and also in school. Especially on the topic of disability, I think it needs to be demystified.
Yes.
It needs to be talked about. People should learn what disability is right from kindergarten, so that it's not a strange thing, because actually it has been part of humanity for so long. And when I meet my fellow colleagues here, I'm happy to see them in a positive light, because they are not defined by the disability, right? There's so much, you know, around a person than a physical limitation or cognitive
Yes.
or hearing or, yeah.
Okay, or
Yeah.
speech as well.
Yeah.
Okay. For you, Josephine, you were born with this condition. How was it for you growing up?
It was so difficult.
Yeah.
I agree with him. Me growing up, I never knew I had disability because I had to live like any other kid. My mama never even talked about it. So when me and my cousin, we used to live with my cousin, me and my cousin, we are going on the road. Like we are on this teenage age, like unakatiwa.
Yeah.
So my cousin anakatiwa, mi niko okay, hao vijana wanasema hata huyu ako na sauti mbaya, you know. It felt so bad. When I'm in class 2, the teacher says huyu anyamaze, kwani anapiga kelele na ana sauti, inakuweka chini. So hata ukisoma, you don't do your best because kuna wale watu you don't want to show them.
So you almost want to close in and be by
Yeah, so
yourself all
you
the
are
time.
there.
Yeah.
Uko kwa class lakini uko hapo tu ukue because mama yako ni lazima make sure umeenda shule, but it is not because you want to be there. It was so hard, but when I grew up and gave birth to Jane, and the doctor told me that she has a problem. That is when I asked God, why now again? What do I do?
Did you have fears? Were you
Yeah,
angry?
I
at
was
all?
so afraid. I was so afraid. I kept quiet for 6 months. I never said anything to anybody, not even to her father, not even to my mother. But one day my mother came to my house. Akaniuliza, kwa nini huyu mtoto wako hamove? Nikamwambia, I don't know. Akaniambia, hapana, we have to go to hospital. So we went for clinic. The nurse there, Upper Westlands, kwa Kanjo, akatuambia, you have to take Jane for therapy. When I went to a PDK and I saw what I saw, I was like, Jesus, kuko na shida zingine. I was so from there, my healing came.
Okay. Okay. You appreciated.
Yeah, I started appreciating myself. I couldn't even talk in front of people. I couldn't. I was scared. But now, I thank God. I know so much.
Okay. And how was it raising Jane so far? She's 12 years.
Raising
How's it
Jane
been? Yeah.
has been easy. I'll say it has been easy because I know now.
Okay.
I know they are bullies. I
Yeah.
try to tell her. I took her to a school where they are integrated. There are people with special needs and others.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she doesn't feel out of
So
place.
she doesn't feel out of place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's doing good. She even has activities that she's doing at school.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. She's playing chess.
Chess.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a game of brilliant minds. You're brilliant. You should teach me chess. Don't finish.
also
Jane,
play chess.
you also, oh wow, okay. You also play chess.
Also play, so
This is interesting.
all
Do you
do.
play chess?
No, I'm trying to learn.
You should learn. We should have a game for chess. You know, you teach us because we don't know.
Actually, I
Especially
think
me.
there's a tournament coming up sometime in October.
Yeah.
Chess for persons with disability.
Please
I think
let us
Chess
know.
Kenya
I have to
is
see
organizing
it.
that. So
Yeah. I need to come and
Yeah.
see that.
When I was in high school,
Yes.
I went to high school in Mombasa. So I used to represent Coast Province. I also participated in the National Youth Chess League. It was
Are you
held
for
in
real?
2004 at Premier Academy and Nairobi School.
What? I've always wanted to play chess. Let's take with Jane. Utanifundisha, si ndio? Hawa watu wasikue ndo wasinichekele. So, how has it been for you, Jane, kwa shule na students wengine? How has it been?
Sometimes tukienda kucheza, wengine wanasema hataki kucheza na mimi, nitaumia nikicheza.
Na inakufanya una feel aje?
Vibaya.
Una wish wangesema nini? Wangekutreat aje?
The same kama hao wengine.
Na kuna vitu watu wanasema, wanakuambia wewe ama indirectly wanaongea,
Waniambia.
hawakwambii. Na do you have a friend? Uko na friend shule? Anaitwa nani?
Mary.
Mary. Na Mary anakutreat aje?
Poa.
So unataka utritiwe kama normal human being. Na challenges zingine una face maybe shule, time ya activities za shule kama ama time ya exam, uko tu sawa. Yeah. And how is it being with mom Josephine the way she is? How do you feel? Una feel aje kuwa na mama akiwa na condition iko nayo?
Vizuri.
So sometimes una feel ni kama uko na anger ama uko sawa?
Kwa sawa.
Thank God for that. Jane, George,
Yes.
the condition that you have, having gone through that when you were little, what are some of the things that you faced even as you were growing up? Having in mind what Bernard shared.
You know, before my condition, I used to play all the game, play football and all that. But then I got unwell, I got cancer, and then I got amputated. My world just flipped. You know, there I was. I couldn't. I didn't know how to play some games. You know, kids would not play with me because they would say, "Hey, tutamvunja hiyo mguu ingine imebaki." And actually, it was very difficult, especially the first year. Then my parents decided to take me to a special school. I went to a special school in Machakos, and you know, before I went to that school, you know, I used to feel pity for myself, try to wonder how it would be there, and I was mad at myself. Then I went to that school, and then I met other students who had different disabilities, and guess what? I wanted to go back. I felt so normal. I started feeling nasikia vibaya, like how could I think that I am challenged, whereas I met one of our classmates, he didn't have either of the limbs, hands or legs, but they were happy, they were playing, you know. And I think what really helped me is that whatever condition that besets us, the first step is that you accept your condition. You stop fighting yourself. The moment you first accept your condition, it makes it easy. It makes it easy for you even to know how you're going to navigate through life. It makes it easy for you to also know how you're going to think how you're going to achieve and attain your dreams and your goals and your aspiration. Because like I lost a leg, but not my intelligence,
I like that.
not my goals, not my vision. You see? So and when it also comes to the society, like Bernard was saying, I think the society needs to reevaluate, because most people think if you are able different, what you need is pity. You don't need pity. What you need is chance. You do a lot of things.
You need chance.
We have a lot of talents.
Yes.
We can fit in.
Yes.
Like I used to play football. We have Kenya Amputee Football Federation. I was one of the founding members of Amputee Football, the national team. I used to play. So that did not stop me. I usually tell people my disability could have slowed me down, but it never stopped
It didn't
me.
stop you.
And sometimes it gave me more opportunities, because like in every exit is an entrance to another opportunity. So are the challenges that we have in our lives.
Okay.
And when it comes to families and all that, I think, because I meet a lot of kids, and the first thing that they say to me is pole. And sometimes you wonder, are they telling me pole? It's because the mentality of the parents, when we are raising our kids, we tend to tell them that ukiona mtu ako challenge, you feel oishe. You don't feel oishe. You see, there's more to life
Yes.
than just physical attributes.
Yes, I agree. Okay, you want to say something before we get to
onto
feedback?
that. So there's something you mentioned about the point at which you accept yourself.
Yes.
And I think the question we can ask here is, what is the barrier to that point? And I think one of the greatest barriers to that point is that lack of exposure. Like you see, for him, it is only when he went to this school and he saw other kids who have disabilities, and he was like, oh my God, I'm doing so well. So I think one of the things we really need right now in our society is to give persons with disabilities that exposure. They need community, they need to meet other people, and more so for parents of persons with disability. In fact, my mom also went through the same phase. She never thought there was any other mother facing, this. But when you expose them and she meets other mothers, then it becomes easier.
Yes.
And that shift in mindset, I like what she said about her kid going to an integrated school. So, and that's the way to mainstream even and change the mentality about disability.
Okay.
Is that we don't need to look at it as a special thing that is dealt with separately. It needs to be part and parcel of every day, at school, at work, at sports, at everything. Yeah.
Okay, so we need to be integrated as
Yes.
well. Yes.
And I think what I advised the government to integrate the special school was that the special schools were kind of like segregated. You just go there, you are all persons with different disabilities there.
Yeah.
Then you get along very well, you study very well, but the moment
You get
you
out?
finish school and you go there, it is difficult for you to be reintegrated back into the society.
Yeah.
So like for my primary school, it was not integrated, but for the secondary school, it was also a special school, but we had it was integrated.
So you didn't feel like you were being put on the side, secluded or anything?
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Okay. I also want us to talk about something before that. We'll take feedback, but maybe you can just think about it. The aspect of having people who are able differently on the streets asking for help, some of them being used, into raising money for certain people who I do not know. Maybe you can think about it as we continue, but for now, Mo, can we get some feedback? What are people saying?
Yeah, let's see what we have now. IG, I think on this side, yes, here we go. We had asked a question early on how should we treat people with disabilities, and then tuko na Lilian anasema we should learn to love and care for them, we should never discriminate them because sote ni wana wa Mungu. Asante sana. Then tuko na mwingine pale Daniel anasema in my opinion are people with any kind of disabilities just like any other human being and should be treated the same way we treat those with no disabilities. It is so funny in some instances that a disabled person can do something a person with no disability can't. It is good. Asante sana Daniel, that's really awesome. Then we have Rico anasema disability is not inability, and yes, of course it is. Alafu Osi anasema they need total love and care. And then what else do we have on that side, Ernest? Yes, that way tumesoma. Getich anasema the wonderful tributes we can show them is treating them with abundant love and care. Muthusi anasema hivi Isaac, many people can be extraordinary. I strongly believe that with the right support, many more people with disabilities can secure work, making a valuable contribution to society and leading a fulfilling life for themselves. Wow, that's really dope. Tusome zingine za mbio pale. Samson has my hello farm. For me, I think before you give help, ask if the person needs it. The person may want to do things for herself or else himself. Then we should stop this habit ya kuona people with disabilities as sick people. They are very healthy and strong. Embakasi is watching. Asante ya hero. Orina anasema God has been good to me. I'm watching the show from Naivasha. We have so many ways on how to treat them by praying to them, giving them support in terms of food, finance and clothing. However, we should show them love and be social to them. Mbili za mwisho pale chini, Eliud anasema never talk down to people with disabilities, interact with them and never use offensive terms when talking to them. God loves us all the way we are. Justin nakuona pale chini anasema I think it's good to have a friendly relationship with these people as you learn that they too have a very great personality. Facebook msiseme tumewacha nyuma, tuchukue hizo ziko hapo. Honest Vicari anasema I love them, appreciate them for who they are. It's not like they had a choice. Of course, alikuwa anamaanisha they had a choice. Rian anasema disability is not an ability. I have seen people with disabilities do great stuff. We should treat them like anybody else in order to make them feel comfortable, and we should definitely be ready to help them where possible. I'm so happy you're talking about this. Ibra anasema same way we treat everybody else, that we help boost their self-esteem. And Vincent anasema see them as people since they are born as abled ones. Asante sana, ni kali sana. So that's our Facebook page, and we're going back to Grace Ekirapa to maliza your topic, then we know what else on that side. Grace.
Thank you so much, Mo. And we're also just, concluding, but as I had raised the aspect of exploitation, I think we've seen this on the street. It's not something that's not there. But nobody's talking about it. You'll hear sidebar conversations and everything, but nobody comes out to speak about it. But maybe I can start with Josephine. How do you feel when you see such things on the road?
It is not good. Some people are using those kids for money. So if it is your child, why can't you take her to school? Or go to, there are so many organizations that are dealing with people with disability. They can support you. Try to find out where. And even us as Kenyans, when you walk on the road and you see people like that, kindly share with them. If you know a place where they can go, tell them. If there's something you can do, do it. Stop just staying and passing by.
Okay.
Try to help.
Okay.
Make sure that tomorrow that child is not there and someone is not using that child for money.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. For you, George, is there anything legal that is covering such kind of situation? Are there any things that are put in place to such, things? Because it's really, I don't know what to call it. It's sad, first of all, to see the children on the street, and then there are individuals and adults who are actually pulling and pushing them around.
Actually, the Children Act actually gives children their right to education, as in like the kids are supposed to be at school, not on the street. But if you can recall, back in time, there was an investigative journalism that was done on that story, and some of those kids are not even Kenyan; they are foreign nationals.
It's true.
Brought from other countries, but there are some greedy people out there who are trying to make money out of them. But I think also what is supposed to be done is that, like you see in Kenya, we have very good policies, very good laws, but the problem comes with the enforcement.
Okay.
And I think the right department, the right government departments and agency need to work on this, because we have organizations that deal with persons with disability, but also we have but also we have statute, because you see most of the people who go out there on the street, they go there because they feel so helpless. Maybe they don't have skills, they don't have what, and they don't have opportunity. And I think as a country, there's a quote that says that no country or society can move ahead if a percentage of its population is left behind in terms of empowerment, in terms of education, in terms of opportunities.
Yeah.
When you look at the Disability Act 203, when you go at it and you look at it, it has a lot of provisions There's a place whereby all public and private entities are mandated at law to have 5% of their employees as persons with disabilities. The sad thing is that even the government itself has not complied to that. So how do
So it's the enforcement.
Yeah, it is
that
the
is
enforcement. It is the enforcement.
So the rules are there, the law is there, but people are not acting upon it.
It is the agencies, the government agencies that are supposed to enforce this, and they themselves have not complied.
Right.
So you find that even in the private sector, they will not do that. If the government could enforce that, it would be easy.
All right. Yeah. So the problem is deeper. We need to address it from the grassroots, and the government needs to play a part in it as well. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Let me just
as we wind up,
contribute to that as well.
Yes.
Actually, for me, the case of disabled kids in the streets always breaks my heart. And as he mentioned, this is an area, because when you look at it, it actually is in the borderline of child trafficking.
Yes.
Exploitation of children. And I think the Ministry of Interior, for example, should secure our borders and ensure that we don't have, foreigners bringing disabled kids to beg in Kenya, because it is tarnishing the image of Kenya as a country that does not take care of its disabled children. And I think in terms of what can we do as at an individual level, at a country level, I think what we need is to voice it out until someone listens.
Okay.
And
so
I
don't
think,
give up talking.
yes, we need to highlight it. And I think, like most issues with our country, sometimes we are a bit complacent as Kenyans. And we are just comfortable to live with things the way they are. But I would encourage everyone, let's voice it, let's highlight it. If you see it somewhere, even if it's posting it on social media and tagging the relevant government ministries, do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Josephine, do you have anything to say briefly as well?
It will start with me and you.
Okay. So we don't wait for people from outside as much. We start with ourselves. Okay. Jen, do you want to say something finally? Do you have friends you want to say hi to? Salimia classmates? Salimia watu kwa ile camera.
I want to say hi to Mary, Mercy, and Ivy.
And what do you want to tell people what do you want to tell people out there about treating people with disability?
They should treat them the same as they are.
So they're equal. Treat them equally.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming to studio. And I like what you said. Let the conversation begin with us. Like, let's not wait for other people outside to do it. We start with ourselves. And of course, the government has to, come in and play the role that it needs to play. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your stories. So that's it. Remember, the conversation continues throughout the show. We also have the artist Uptown, and we also have the surprise DJ that we told you about, who's coming in, and it's in line with our topic of today. So keep it locked on Crossover101. And so over to you, DJ Mo, for now.
We're doing a small set because so many guys have been requesting for some songs. Sasa tunaenda haraka haraka. Then later on we'll be doing hot and new, and of course we told you have a guest DJ mwenye atakuwa kwenye decks. Itakuwa ni noma sana, si ndio? So keep it Crossover101. Here we go.
Shida nyingi safarini, lakini tukiwa na Yesu
uko pamoja nasi. Yesu najua umetuita zaidi ya washindi.
Atatembea nasi.
Atembea na wewe.
Safarini kwa uwezo wake Mola nitafika. Safari ndefu yaanza kwa hatua moja. Wahenga walisema nikiokoka nachukua hatua ya kwanza ya safari ya mbinguni. Kuna changamoto, kuna panda shuka, lakini kwa uwezo wake Yesu nitafika. Shida nyingi safarini, ingawa safari ngumu nitafika. Shida nyingi safarini, ingawa safari ngumu nitafika.
exalted up above everything, nothing compared to you. Yeah, your mercies are new every morning, and your loving is true. Yeah, you are highly exalted up above